Monday morning in Tokyo. Yuta, a young man in his mid-20s, stands packed into the rush hour train like every other day. His earphones are in, but he isn't really listening to anything. His head is filled with one loud sentence that keeps repeating itself.
I have to hurry. I have to be better. I have to keep up with everyone else.
He works at a big company. He does overtime until only a few office lights are still on at night. He eats lunch in front of his computer. To everyone else, he looks hardworking and reliable. But inside, he is a perfectionist, a solo worker who hates asking for help and doesn't like helping others because he believes it's a waste of time and that his coworkers will only slow him down and lower the quality of his work. Some nights, as he walks back to his apartment alone, Yuta quietly asks himself a question.
Am I really living my life? Or am I just running on a treadmill that never stops?
One day, while he is checking an email from his boss on the train, a phone call pops up on his screen.
Mom.
He hesitates for a moment, but then answers.
Yuta, how have you been lately, dear? Uncle Taro keeps asking about you. The fields over there are so green right now, and the wind feels wonderful.
Uncle Taro is his father's older brother, a farmer who lives in a small village several hours away from Tokyo.
I've been pretty busy with work, Mom. Can I call you back later?
Lately, you sound tired, Yuta. If you have a free Saturday or Sunday, why don't you come out of the city for some fresh air? Your uncle really wants to see you. He's so happy every time he hears your name.
The call ends, but his mother's words stay in his mind while the train carries him past tall buildings and bright billboards. That night, Yuta opens an app to book a ticket on the express train. His finger hesitates over the screen for a while before finally tapping confirm on a ticket to the little village he hasn't visited in years. Chapter 1. The Rice Fields. A lesson in the rhythm of the earth. The announcement for the final station echoes through the train. Yuta pulls his small suitcase onto the platform. Last night, he was surrounded by neon lights and skyscrapers. Today, in front of him, there are distant mountains, rice fields, and low wooden houses that are nothing like the crowded city. A country breeze blows across his face. It doesn't smell like coffee. It smells like a strange, familiar earth he can barely remember. Uncle Taro is waiting in front of the small town station, wearing an old long-sleeved shirt, a straw hat, and work pants stained with dirt. His skin is dark from the sun, but his smile is bright.
Hey, Yuta, you've really grown into a young man. Finally, you show yourself. I haven't seen you in so long.
Yuta bows and greets his uncle, puts his suitcase in the back of the small pickup truck, and sits beside him in the front seat. On the drive from the station to the village, Yuta looks out the window. He sees farmers bending and straightening in the fields. He sees children riding their bicycles slowly along the road.
Why are they able to live their whole lives at this kind of slow pace?
Not long after they arrive at the house, Uncle Taro asks him a question.
Are you free tomorrow, Yuta? Come help me in the fields. You don't need to be good at anything. Just let your feet stand on real earth for once.
Yuta hesitates, but nods in agreement. The next morning, the sky is clear and the sunlight is gentle. Yuta stands at the edge of a rice field, surrounded by waves of bright green.
Try taking off your shoes.
He awkwardly follows his uncle's instructions, placing his bare feet into the cool, wet soil. The earth gives slightly under his weight, in a way that concrete in Tokyo never does.
Here, take this seedling and plant it. But don't rush. Go slowly. Feel the soil first.
He does what he is told, his untrained hands slowly planting each seedling, one by one by one. After a while, the sweat starts to run. His back grows tired, but his mind is quieter than it ever is in the city.
Uncle, don't you get bored doing this every day? Everything feels so slow out here. In Tokyo, everything has to move fast. If you're too slow, you get passed and you lose. Everyone just wants to go further, go higher.
You think this is slow because you're using the city's clock to measure the pace of the fields. If you look from the sky and the rain's point of view, my life is actually pretty fast. Soon it's time to plow, then to plant, then to worry about storms. No 2 days are ever the same. You know, Yuta, not a single grain of rice ever tries to grow in a hurry. But not a single grain is lazy either. Each one grows in its own rhythm. Our job isn't to yank it upward and force it to grow faster. Our job is just to take care of the soil, the water, and the sunlight. That's all. If you stayed here longer, you'd start to feel that this place has its own rhythm too. If I tried to force the rice to grow tall in 2 days, the whole field would die.
Uncle Taro pauses, looks out at the quiet field, and then continues.
Your job in the city isn't so different from growing something inside your own heart. If you keep pushing yourself all the time, always demanding to grow faster, one day your roots will snap and you'll collapse too.
Yuta falls silent. His eyes trace the rows of tiny seedlings. He realizes that this beautiful, endless green field began as small plants, one by one, just like this. Chapter 2. The River. The Art of Waiting. The next afternoon, Uncle Taro takes Yuta to a river near the village. On the bank, there is a tanned middle-aged man sitting with a fishing rod in his hand, wearing a wide-brimmed hat and a shirt with a few buttons undone, fluttering slightly in the breeze.
This is Uncle Kenji, my friend. He likes to sit here every evening. Even though he doesn't catch any fish sometimes, he prefers to sit and talk with the fish more than he actually fishes.
Uncle Kenji laughs loudly and waves Yuta over to sit beside him.
From Tokyo, right? I can tell just by looking at your face. Someone who's still thinking about work, even while sitting beside a river like this.
Yuta lets out an awkward laugh, as if he's been caught even though he hasn't said anything yet. The three of them sit in silence for a while. There is only the sound of water flowing, birds calling, and the faint tap of the fishing line touching the surface of the river.
Uncle, does fishing really require this much patience? I don't think I could sit still this long.
When I first started, I wasn't any different from you. 5 minutes after casting the line, if I didn't catch anything, I got irritated. reeled it back in, changed the bait. Sometimes I got so angry I almost threw the rod away. But after a while, I realized something. The fun isn't in when the fish finally bites. The fun is when you're listening to the water, listening to the wind, and suddenly realize, right now, I'm actually here. I'm really in this moment, even if I don't catch a single fish.
Yuta looks at the water, watching the sunlight dance and shimmer on the surface. Without noticing, his breathing begins to slow down.
But in the city, if we don't hurry, it feels like we're always being left behind, doesn't it, Uncle?
Do you think that if you jerk the rod up and down faster, the fish will come any sooner? In life, we can only control how we cast the line, the actions we take. If we try to control when the fish decides to bite as well, we exhaust ourselves because we're trying to control something that was never ours to control. If the work you're doing is honest and true, and you're really doing your best, then you've already cast your line. When the results show up, that has its own timing. The more you thrash and tug, the easier it is for the bait to fall off, and the more you scare all the fish away.
Kenji's words feel like a cool breeze passing through Yuta's chest. Quiet, but deep. The fishing line trembles slightly in Uncle Kenji's hand, but no fish is caught yet. He only laughs softly.
Some fish are smart, some are just hungry, some are simply passing by. People are the same. Not everyone you're kind to will come back and love you. Not every project you pour your whole heart into will succeed. But that doesn't mean your waiting was meaningless.
A few minutes after he finishes speaking, the line suddenly moves again. This time, a fish has taken the bait. With practiced hands, he gently jerks the rod and begins reeling it in steadily and calmly. It's a Yamame trout, not something you see every day, and just the right size. The three of them are delighted, chatting and laughing together in the easy way men often do. Yuta stays there with the two uncles until the sun begins to set, realizing only later that he has barely reached for his phone to check the time all day. Chapter 3. The Road. The destination matters, but the journey matters more. On the last day before he has to return to Tokyo, he has only 3 days here. He can't afford to take more time off from work. Deep down, he feels a little sad, wishing he could stay for a few more days, but he forces himself to let go because he is genuinely worried about his job. Uncle Taro has village matters to take care of that day, so he asks another uncle to drive Yuta back to the train station. This uncle's name is Sato. He drives a small 4-wheeled truck, its back filled with crates of vegetables, fruit, and supplies to be delivered to the town market. Sato is the village's unofficial driver. If someone needs to go to the hospital, the market, or the station, they usually ride with him. Uncle Taro stands there to see Yuta off.
If things get too loud out there, you can always come back and listen to the frogs and crickets here.
Yuta bows to thank his uncle in his own way, says goodbye, and climbs into the passenger seat. Sato plays some old Japanese songs that Yuta doesn't recognize, but they're strangely pleasant to listen to. The narrow road winds through fields and patches of forest.
So, you're finally heading back to Tokyo, huh, kid? The big city must be a lot more exciting than these rice fields, right?
It's convenient, sure, Uncle, but sometimes I get tired way too easily. It feels like I'm sprinting all day without any idea where the finish line is.
The truck moves steadily along the road, neither fast nor slow.
When I first learned to drive, I competed with everything on the road. I wanted to overtake everyone, to arrive faster than anyone else. It felt like my life only had value if I got there first. Then one day, I almost hit a kid who ran out into the street. I managed to brake in time, but my hands were shaking for 3 days. After that day, I stopped racing anyone on the road. I just started asking myself one thing. Can I reach my destination in a way that allows me to still smile? And when the people riding with me get out of the truck, do they feel safe and at ease?
Yuta listens quietly as the truck rounds a bend, opening up a view of wide fields and distant mountains that take his breath away.
Life isn't a highway where the person who gets on first automatically wins. It's a long, winding road. Sometimes you have to turn back. Sometimes you have to take a detour. Sometimes you have to pull over and rest. In the end, when you really reach the destination, it doesn't matter very much who got there first. What really matters is what did you see and learn along the way? Your life is the same. Maybe what you truly need isn't to get there as fast as possible. Maybe what you really need is to arrive in a condition where you still want to keep living. Don't forget, on the road, the one who drives the fastest isn't always the one who reaches the destination with the most happiness.
The conversation between them on the way to the station is short. The words sound ordinary, but somewhere inside, Yuta feels as if something in him has shifted down a gear without him noticing.
Chapter 4. The Trash Cans. Clearing the Dirt from the Heart. Yuta returns to Tokyo that night. The same room, the same streets, but in his heart, the city feels just a little slower. The next night, after working late and coming back to his apartment, he walks through a narrow alley near where he lives. There, he sees a man in his 50s wearing a reflective safety vest, bending down to pick up trash and drop it into big bags. Beside him is a small cart loaded with neatly lined up white garbage bags. He is the cleaning worker for Yuta's neighborhood. Yuta has seen this man many times before, but has never spoken to him. Maybe he was always too busy. But tonight, for some reason, Yuta stops when he sees this scene. He lowers his head slightly and greets him softly.
Thank you for your hard work tonight, sir. It must be pretty tough doing this at this hour.
The man said, turning around and smiling faintly. Sounding surprised at being greeted, he tossed a garbage bag onto his cart.
It's not that hard, really. It's just a job that somebody has to do. If I don't do it, then tomorrow morning you'd probably be stepping in something disgusting all along the way.
Both of them chuckle quietly. Yuta hesitates for a moment, then asks him a question.
Do you work this night shift every single night, Uncle?
Almost every night, yes. Whatever people throw away in this city, my job is to clear it out before morning comes, before the smell gets so bad that people can't stand walking through here.
The man tosses another bag of trash onto his cart before continuing.
Our hearts are just like these streets. If no one ever cleans them up, they don't fall apart all at once. But slowly, they get dirtier and more rotten, until one day, even the owner of that heart no longer dares to walk inside.
His words make Yuta pause. He thinks about all the negative thoughts he has left lying around in his mind, all the times he has insulted himself, all the fear of falling behind, all the boredom and resentment he has never really dealt with.
Most people aren't worthless at all. They just convince themselves that they don't matter enough, so they let bad thoughts pile up in their heads and refuse to clean them out, like streets no one wants to sweep. But the truth is, we clean because these streets are valuable. You're the same. If you believe you have value, you'll start to slowly clear the dirt out of your own heart, piece by piece, instead of letting it pile up so much that you begin to think, I'm nothing but a pile of garbage.
When the cleaning worker finishes speaking, he smiles at Yuta once more and quietly pushes his cart into the dark alley. Yuta stands there and watches his back for a while, before finally turning to walk back to his room. That night, before going to bed, he opens a notes app on his phone and writes a single simple question.
Today, what do I want to clean out of my own heart?
He doesn't know all the answers yet, but just daring to ask is enough to make everything feel a little different. The small changes other people start to notice. Several weeks pass. From the outside, Yuta's life in Tokyo looks exactly the same. He still rides the same train line, he still walks into the same office, he still sits in the same chair in the meeting room. But one thing has clearly changed: the rhythm inside his heart. During team meetings, he used to rush to speak, quick to share his ideas, because he was terrified of falling behind. Now, he takes one deeper breath before he speaks, listens to others until they finish, and only then begins to talk. His manager notices and quietly says to a coworker, "Lately, Yuta seems calmer than before. When he speaks, it feels like he spots things through more deeply, and he listens to other people much more than he used to." When coworkers come to ask Yuta for help, instead of rejecting them immediately like he might have done in the past, he pauses to think. If he has time and can genuinely help, he does so willingly. He slowly starts to realize that working as a team isn't as bad as he once thought. It may not be perfectly efficient or exactly how he would do it alone, but with good coordination, sometimes the work turns out better and faster, and he becomes closer to his colleagues in the process. Some nights, after work, instead of scrolling on his phone until late, he steps out into the alley. When he sees the cleaning worker, he bows and greets him softly. It doesn't change the entire world, but it makes him feel that, at least today, he didn't just disappear from the world without being of use to anyone. The lessons he brought back from the fields, the river, the road, and the trash cans. One night, Yuta sits by his window, looking out over the city. 100 building lights flicker like stars trapped inside a box. He starts to see the invisible threads that tie all of these moments together. From his real uncle, Taro the farmer, he learned that the rice fields have their own seasons, and people's lives have their own rhythms too. If you force them to go too fast, the roots will break. From Uncle Kenji the fisherman, he learned that we can only control how we cast the line, not when the fish decide to bite. From Uncle Sato the driver, he learned that The destination is important, but what matters even more is what we notice and learn along the way. From the cleaning worker, he learned that cleaning dark thoughts out of your heart isn't because you are worthless, it's because your heart is valuable enough to be kept clean. And most importantly, he begins to feel that even if his life never becomes as grand or glamorous as an advertisement, simply being here with awareness might already be a small gift he is giving back to the world. If you've stayed with Yuja's story until now, maybe in your own life you also have your 4 uncles. Maybe it's an elder who quietly repeats the same work every day, but whose eyes are strangely gentle. Maybe it's a friend who never rushes you, who just sits beside you in silence by the river of your life. Or maybe it's a driver or a delivery worker who once said something simple that you somehow still remember today. Or maybe it's someone who cleans up after others, out in the city or inside your heart, without ever asking anyone to recognize their importance. The real question is not just, what lessons is the world trying to give us? But rather, today, are we open enough to notice these small lessons, or are we hurrying past them, treating them as nothing more than background noise? Yuta's story might not be anything special at all. It's just a young man who is tired of the big city, an old farmer who lives in rhythm with the earth, a fisherman who lives in rhythm with the river, a driver who lives in rhythm with the road, and a cleaning worker who lives in rhythm with letting go of what needs to be thrown away. But if we look more closely, we begin to see that wisdom isn't only hidden in thick books or deep, complicated quotes. It's in the groaning sound of the morning train, the sound of boots stepping into wet soil, the plop of bait hitting the surface of the water, the hum of tires rolling along a road, and the rustle of trash bags in the night while most people are fast asleep. Sometimes, wisdom in an ordinary day is born in the moment we slow down just a little and allow ourselves to truly listen to these ordinary sounds. And this is Everyday Wisdom, the episode Lessons from the Fields, the River, the Road, and the Trash Cans. If this video made you breathe a little slower or look at someone around you with a slightly softer gaze, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to Beyond the Mind. Here, we don't just invite you to look more deeply at the world outside, but also to turn back and look more gently at the small world inside your own heart with a little more understanding day by day. Thank you for listening until the very end. And I hope that, on some ordinary day in the future, as you walk along the same old road, you might not notice the world changing very much, but you might notice that the person who has changed, even just a little, is you.